that in India, artist is no special kind of man, but every man is a special kind of an artist. And it is in the Indian context that we have to discuss this question of creativity, vision, and managerial engagements, etc. And for having dealt with both federal administration and provincial administration and insurgency and culture at the same time, I have always felt this, that the biggest question is that of relevance of culture. I mean, is culture relevant? I mean, in fact, that is the biggest question mark. The way culture has been treated as a song and dance act, as a matter for stage, it is not considered relevant. So for the vast majority in the hinterland, it is not relevant the way it is enacted, I mean, on the Delhi stage or on the global stage. So unless culture is seen as not instrumental in development but constitutive in development, there is no hope for culture. Unless, I mean, there is also a commitment to cultural impact assessment, apart from, industrial impact assessment, other assessments, there is no hope for culture. So if one is trying to talk about a vision for culture, one has to really think of a cultural approach, a strategy, which helps us move from textualization of culture to contextualization of culture. I mean, from museumization of culture to demuseumization of culture. From the curatorial approach to culture, where all these institutions really look after their own staff and their own curators. I mean, to an approach where the institutional managers are co-curators of the real curators of the biocultural habitats of the communities all over the country. So this is a primary problem. So in outlining a vision, one has to really define the role of culture and its relevance. As regards the legal framework, I understand what is being said, but then Justice Hidayatullah once distinguished three legal premises. One was res nullius, the second was terra nullius, and the third was lex loci res sete. What he meant was that for the community, the habitat is in India has been, what has been assigned by the sovereign is his, nothing else. Or what has been occupied by the sovereign and what has been excluded by the sovereign is his, nothing else. But the real approach should be that there is a role of cultural self-determination for the community, and the right to the preempted occupation of a biocultural habitat also gives purchase to that community on what should be done, and a kind of a right and privilege. So the legal structure in terms of structural, construction, I mean, I have seen that there is a letter of law and there is a spirit of law. And mostly, when the spirit of law is violated by the letter of the law, and the letter of the law is violated in actual observance. So most of the institutions do not function according to the highest, formulations of idealism which they have given to themselves, and the platitudes which they utter in their charter. Because these are like, when the Roman soldiers surrounded Christ and he was being, crowned with the crown of thorns, so they resorted to laughter. Why did they resort to laughter? Because his life was too big for them, and so they had to resort to laughter. They could not resort to tears. So these charters are highfalutin, but they can't be fulfilled because small men fill big shoes. As regards the financial aspect, I mean, once one thinks of making culture relevant, how will the marketing approach change? I mean, shall we take away the product from the process, and the artifact from the habitat, the culture from the development, the festival from the natural and the human resource management strategies which inhere in each environment, and should we put them on the stage? Is that the best way to market them? I mean, I have also handled forestry and education and culture and election, and simultaneously, I mean, in parts of Chhattisgarh and Madhya Pradesh. And I have seen this happen, that through the joint forest management structure, as soon as one looked at the habitat, one set up many folklore medicine hospitals, and around that, one packaged the minor forest produce. Then we also helped the communities package their products and then put the minor forest produce federation at their disposal for marketing, and so the marketing improved. Now, of course, I mean, like in an institution set up by a corporate structure, even in the institutionalized structure of the government, it collapses. I mean, if you have corrupt individuals, I mean, at the helm. I mean, I don't know. I mean, even in a democracy, I mean, where we are able to, I mean, cancel out most of the, contradictory impulses from time to time by a kind of a mutual clash of errors, this problem never goes. The systemic problem of how to manage the finances. Then there is another problem of IPR now. Now this is a society of spectacle, which also locks into the intellectual question, because we are getting domesticated in a global discourse in which fixed rather than unfixed knowledge has priority. I mean, there is a right only to expressions, not to ideas. And this is a country of orality, of contextuality, not of written heritage. And there is a vast amount of culture locked up in our orality. And if we are to be driven by a consciousness industry and a society of spectacle, and we are to be driven by high, fast-talking DJs and various kinds of only fusion music. I mean, there's nothing wrong with fusion music, but if it is the only brand of music invading the screen, I mean, there are no 100 varieties exist, but all those 100 varieties should have room. So this diverse difference has to have room, and that is the only way, I mean, the intellectual efflorescence can occur. Otherwise, again, as what is said in Sanskrit, there is a shithila samadhittam, a slackening of attention. There is a voiding of content, and only the shape survives. And this is what is called, in German, a doppelganger, an evil imitation. So when you have a kind of a folkloristic product, I mean, which you divorce from its habitat, from its festival, from its context, and then commercialize it, I mean, embellish it, and then put it in either a musical program or a film program, and then you lose the necessity, embellishment, beauty, utility connection, then you have this problem of evil imitation. So then the question comes of teaching and managing. Managing of culture. Now, I mean, I can only talk about a few examples. I mean, I came to the National Museum of Mankind. Mr. Swaminathan was there. Mr. Bajpayee was there. And I saw that it was a museum of hearts, though it was called a museum of communities. So what was the answer? The charter said, I mean, it could be easily read forwards into the future. It could be retold. So all that had to be done was to move from ex situ display to in situ regeneration, from collection of artifacts to recollection of ideas, from mere documentation to co-directed initiatives of the communities. Then we came to the National Museum as Director General. I saw that the National Museum was not national at all. It's less than Tehsil level museum. It was not providing any guidance to the 1,500 museums in the country. So we spread out and said that, well, let's talk to the museums, let's have the museums link up with the communities which have given them their tangible and intangible heritage, and how to animate this tangible heritage with intangible memories. Then in the Indira Gandhi National Center for Arts, I mean, we have a vast archive, but the archive is not galvanized. So we have spread out into the remote territories and trying to get communities together to build up interlingual glossaries on dispute resolution, self-governance, on get all these satras and the monasteries to come together, conserve them as deficient centers of civilization, work around multiple foci, I mean, all over the country with the communities, and they generate the products and then provide them sustenance support there and then on the spot. Now the question is, I mean, this corporate management and the public-private partnership. I think it is of the utmost importance. I mean, most of these institutions have really insulated themselves. I mean, they are afraid. I mean, they suffer from a don't touch me, I mean, touch me notism syndrome. Because there is also a problem of lack of quality. I mean, the best people, I mean, with the best brains, do not necessarily live in culture, and so therefore there is also an intellectual shying away. I mean, from people who are better than you. So you try to live in your cocoon, and then since you have a lot of money to spend, so you organize spectacles, and these spectacles are there, but there is no real revitalization or regeneration of culture, no real marketing of culture. So, so far as the future is concerned, in this part of the world, I mean, I see this century as, since I am also an archaeologist of sorts, as a century where we should practice the archaeology of extinction. I mean, the current rate of extinction is 40,000 times more than the background rate of extinction. And there is not only an end of species, but there is also an end of birth. If we had 50% forest at the beginning of the century and the earlier century, now we have about 18%. And the dying of death and the loss of complexity, the coming in of radical simplification. I mean, before we know, the culture will be gone. So it is essentially necessary now for the institutions and the people to get together to work together for moving in step with the communities, the hundreds of communities in the country, look beyond their political geography at their mental atlas and redraw the mental atlas of the country and its neighborhood. Thank you.